Hi, this is a AI Dungeons and Dragons master AI agent that's built for Dungeons and Dragons, and this language model writes the narration only, but like it doesn't it doesn't actually play the game for you. It just in Dungeons and Dragons it like plays the narrator for you. It will allow you to um roll the dice for like all the character stats, and those are mainly done through tools. And I'll go through all the files in order. This file sets up two models that everything else uses. The first chat model, which runs locally through an Olama model that is downloaded locally on a different machine, and I connect to that different machine through my laptop. And this is better for me because I don't want to pay for an API. And um, the second is an embedding model, which is used for RAG. So now I'm going to show two of the tools that I made for this agent. So first is a dice agent, which is pretty simple. It will roll the dice, and in Dungeons and Dragons, outcomes depend on the dice. So the rolls need to be completely random, and the language model doesn't know how to do the rolling, so the tool does it for us. So here's the second tool, the characters tool, and this file creates and loads character sheets, and ability scores are rolled, and the standard Dungeons and Dragons way is to roll a four six-sided dice, and then add the highest three, and the health of each character is calculated from the Constitution score, and each finished sheet is like saved on a disk as a JSON file, and you can see that in the characters folder. So these are just previous characters I've made. Okay, moving on to my um first agent, and that is the character agent. So this wraps the two character tools into an agent. So it takes the two tools, the dice and the character tool, and the agent is a model with a set of tools and a short instruction telling it to manage the characters and always use the tools instead of inventing stats. So I'm making sure that um, the LLM does not make the stats itself. It will only use the tools, and that keeps it completely random and the game perfect. So now let's move on to RAG, and that will be right here. And before the rules agent can answer the questions, the rulebook, which is listed in the rules, this thing, this is all the rules. So the rules agent will look through this entire thing and search through it by like converting the rules into over 800 chunks and looking through each of those chunks that is stored in a uh, that are stored in vectors in a Chroma database. And the first run builds the database, which takes time. So after you run it the first time, it will run a lot quicker. And this is the retrieval part of RAG. So this will first like just retrieve the data it needs. So now let's move on to the rules agent, and this agent answers all the rules questions. It has one tool that searches the indexed rulebook, which is inside the folder, and it it's instructed to answer only from what the search returns from the uh, rules. And if an action isn't possible in Dungeons and Dragons, if the user says something that's not possible, um, it will not let you do it because the rulebook says so. And if the rulebook says you can't do something, then the game master in this tool or this agent will not let you do that rule or that move. Okay, let's move on to the game master, and this is the coordinator. It's a supervisor agent, which means it doesn't answer the questions directly. Its instructions is to send character questions to the character agent, and rule questions to the rules agent. So it's managing both the two agents, and any chance-based outcome from the dice tool, which is from the character agent. It then combines those results into a narration and ends with a few actions that the player can choose from. So it will give you a couple options that the character can choose from, or it can make its, or the player can say its own thing, and that's when the rule book will come in. So here's the interface, and this is just a command line interface. It reads the player's actions and runs a turn and prints the narration. The session ID stays the same on every turn, which is what allows the game to remember previous turns. So here's a demo of the game master. So let's start with saying well, like to create a character. So we're just gonna say create a character named Sharia, a human fighter, using the character tool. And what this will do is it will create a character by using the character tool, and the character tool will generate random values for my stats. Okay, so it created my character and it gives me a scenario. So what I'm going to say is I'm going to prepare for battle. And here are the stats. So it created my character. It says I'm a human, it says I'm a fighter, and here are my random stats. So it didn't display it here, but it's in here. Shows me everything. And we can go back to the actual game, and then it gives me a response. So after I say I'm going to prepare my equipment and make sure I'm sure, it says, okay, I did this. It narrates me. Then I'm going to say I'm going to head straight towards the Band-Aid hideout, and the game will continue on until you tell it to quit. So this is just Dungeons & Dragons. All it will let you do, the agent will do everything a game master in actual Dungeons & Dragons will need you to do. You just get to play the game instead of having to find a narrator that needs to know all the rules. And you don't have to say anything from these. You can say your own things, right? So if I say something that is completely against the rules, it will not let me. So I'll like show that as an example in the next prompt. So I might say something outrageous. So I'll say, use a tank to destroy the enemies. Destroy them. And it should consider it by checking the rules, and obviously the rules will not let me use a tank. So it doesn't directly say no, but since it's not in the rule book, it will, in a way, it will say there's no, like, for example, it says there's no tanks, the terrain isn't suited for it, and it says it's not an option here. So that just shows it being able to look through the rules and give me a correct output that is that shows that this knows the rules and capabilities of Dungeons and Dragons. And that's basically all you can do with this thing, and then you can just say quit and it will let you exit. So this is my Dungeons and Dragons Game Master. Thank you.